So I was looking for something good on Incels.me to start off a video with, and I found this. This thread is addressed to men viewing this site due to the Toronto incident. Now, I've been lurking around on Incels.me since way before this incident, but I imagine they're just addressing normies in general, which me and you, we're normies. They are incels. Hot females are Stacys, and hot males are Chads, just to establish all that stuff for new people. Now, I do not want to misrepresent these incels. I'm just going to read this post and the comments to it and understand that this post and the comments do not reflect the opinions of the entire incel community. If you are dating or married to a woman who was not a virgin when you meet her, you are with a woman who has already given her full love to someone else, a woman who can only view you as the next in line, not a one and only, a woman who has become at least somewhat cynical and jaded due to prior heartbreaks, a woman who has been cream-pied by other men before you, a woman who has been anally cream-pied by other men before you, a woman who kisses you with the very lips that she used to suck other man's dicks, a woman that will always remember all of the emotional and physical pleasure she had with other men before you. Don't be cowardly. Stand up and demand a chaste virgin wife. Emotionally and physically used up trash is no good as wife material. Take a stand against degeneracy and better your life. So now we're going to read responses from individual incels, see how they feel about this statement. This guy says, quit driving people away from us. This dude says, brutal black pill, but demanding for virgin wives in the West is going to go nowhere. Responding to brutal black pill, this person says, I'm from China, and the idea would hardly sell there. Outside of the Middle East, parts of Africa, and select Asian countries like Indonesia, it is not a popular set of opinions. This man says, you're not going to get a virgin wife when casual sex is the norm, and virgin girls are probably holding out for good-looking males, so your chances of getting a virgin are low. This dude says, virgin bitch or bust. Responding to virgin bitch or bust, this guy says, this is where people get the idea that we have ridiculous standards. I don't want a cunt that's the equivalent of an Arby's beef and cheddar kicked across the floor either, but there's a middle ground there. And if you would turn down willing pussy that has only seen a few dicks, then how are you even a true cell? Hell, even if the women been in a threesome gangbang, they still wouldn't give a fuck. The past is the past. She is more experienced now. This guy responds to ridiculous standards by saying, the only difference between you and a cuck in the traditional sense is that time has passed in between. This guy responds, black pill. This guy says, if she isn't a virgin, she's trash. 1000% never marry a non-virgin, but I'd still fuck one if I had the chance with no major commitments. This guy responds to having sex with a non-virgin is cuckoldry, saying, you might have me there. It just seems inconsequential to me somehow as long as she isn't a whore. My preference would be no more than 2 or 3 if she is in her mid-20s. At my age, height, and with my looks, the idea of anything younger is just too unlikely to be plausible. Perhaps I aim too low. This person responds to, if she isn't a virgin, she's trash. For marriage and cohabitation, it is a must to be a virgin. This guy responds to having sex with a non-virgin is cuckoldry, saying, what matters is sequence too. Who fucks her last and then not again? I don't think of a Chad as a cuck, because he has sex with many girls, might be cucking the guy who has one-itis on a specific girl, but will pump and dump her and move on to the next. I doubt he systematically is always a girl's first one, even if it can happen to him. You're only a true cuck if another guy fucks your girl and then you still have sex with her after that, or she no longer gives it to you at all, which is the ultimate worst. Thinking that fucking a non-virgin is auto-cuck status is thinking that all Chads are cucks because they fuck 24/7 with hundreds of promiscuous girls all the time. This guy responds to sequence by saying, Chads are cucks, they just haven't realized it. Chad could easily get cucked in the traditional sense too, if the whores he fucks also fuck other Chads and end up pregnant. This guy says, a woman that kisses you with the very lips she used to suck another man's dicks, and she will also kiss your child with the same lips. This guy's responding to, this is where people get the idea that we have ridiculous standards, by saying, will you shut the fuck up? Wanting a woman who hasn't had another man's semen on its face is by no means ridiculous. So I wanted to be fully objective. I wanted to try and sympathize with the incels here, and this just doesn't line up with my idea of what an incel should be. I don't get this. If you're dating or married to a woman who is not a virgin when you met her, you are with all these things, I would just say, so what? So fucking what? If you were a true incel, I believe you'd be willing to take what you can get. I feel like it's very hypocritical to complain on the internet about the fact that you cannot get laid and then have 100-point list of reasons that somebody isn't good enough to be with you. You know, I mean, I'm not saying people shouldn't have standards in character and even appearance, but just eliminating such a large percentage of the population because they've had sex before is so silly. It's just really juvenile, and I think it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping method. You guys are coping as fuck. You're trying to say, like, oh, I can't have sex, I can't do this, but if you have sex with these sort of people, you're a cuck. If you do sex with this sort of person, you are a cuck. It's just giving themselves excuses of why they can't have sex. Incels don't want to have sex. I'm going to go out and say it here. Incels don't want to have sex. If they really wanted to have sex that much, they would fuck anyone. They would fuck just about anyone. It's this whole weird fake alpha thing where they're like saying like, oh, I'm above this, I'm above fucking a non-virgin, but it's really the opposite of being an alpha. Like, obviously they know that they're not alphas, but they still have this mentality of superiority, and I think it's this whole thing of not wanting to compete. They don't want to have to compete with anybody else. They know that they're fucking terrible at sex because they've never done it before, so they don't want to have to compete with another person's performance. That's what it comes down to. So when incels say that they only want virgins, what they're pretty much saying is, I'm worse than everybody else, and I can't handle the idea of my sexual partner having past sexual partners. That is impossible for the incels to process. I totally agree with this dude here that says, if you would turn down willing pussy that has only seen a few dicks, how are you even true cell? That is so fucking accurate. I think one of the main factors in the decisions of incels is fear. I think their greater fear, their bigger fear even than being rejected, is being accepted and then being laughed at when their sexual performance is not up to par. I think that the worst thing that could possibly happen to an incel is they finally make it, they finally get there, and then they're a fucking joke in bed. So that's why they want to have virgins as their only mates. And I would argue that this whole rejection of non-virgins is one of the most voluntary celibate things I've ever heard in my life. You're choosing to be a virgin. You're choosing to be a virgin by rejecting 95% of the eligible people in the world. And you can blame it on society all you want and call it degenerate, but at the end of the day, you cannot change society. All you can change is the way that you approach things. And if you approach things with a black pill mentality, well, fuck, self-fulfilling prophecy. Nothing's ever going to work out for you. And incels will just be like, yeah, that's the point of the black pill, but just understand that you are choosing to do this. This is voluntary celibacy. You are eliminating a massive portion of the population that you could possibly be having sex with or having a relationship with because of your own fear of inadequacy. And I'm sorry that you feel that way. I'm sorry you have such low self-esteem, but stop blaming society and blame your own mentality and your own inability to accept someone that's not a virgin. Also, to any incels that comment on this video or post about it on incels.me, I would like you to know that this is a conversation. I would like to know your opinion. I just gave mine. I hope you're not offended by it. I wasn't offended by anything I read today. I just disagree with it. And I think that it's hurting you guys. I feel like you shouldn't have this rejection of non-virgins. I would just like to reiterate that the post and the comments below that post are not the opinions of the entire incel community. They're just posts and comments on incels.me that represent the opinions of individuals. I think that on this post, it was probably like an 85-15 split between people saying virgins only and then other people saying, I'd fuck a non-virgin because beggars can't be choosers. And the split might be more even than that in the actual incel community, but just based on the people that commented, that seems to be the general consensus, is virgins only. Also, my advice to the people that are only going for virgins, I'd say recognize that you're going to be going after female incels, you know, people that are socially awkward and not the most attractive. And I honestly, genuinely believe that if male incels and female incels got together and really brainstormed how they could help and fix this whole lookism kind of concept that they have, that ugly people are discriminated against, which I'm not sure I completely disagree with. You know, I feel like ugly people do have a harder time, or less attractive people do have a harder time. But I feel like if men and women that were less attractive put their forces together to try and solve this problem, or at least build strategies to what they could do to fix themselves, they could make strides. Sadly, Incels.me does not allow female members, or they do, but you're just not allowed to identify yourself as such because it will trigger so many other people in the group. If you're an incel out there, my heart goes out to you. I hope that things get better for you. But the truth is, if you accept the black pill, things aren't ever going to get better for you. It's just a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I know you guys know that. That's the point of the black pill. It's eternal pessimism and everything's just over. But my opinion is it's not. And if you opened up your horizons a little bit more to accepting more people into your life, I think things would be better. But if you don't want to do that, don't do it. And I will see you guys tomorrow.